Dear participants of the seminar, my name is Oleg Bodrov, and I'd like to speak with you about new challenges and nuclear risk in the Baltic region. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the invitation and the chance to discuss our common security in the Baltic and Arctic regions. I speak with you from the largest nuclear cluster in the Baltic Sea region. It is located on the southern coast of the Gulf of Finland, 35 kilometers from St. Petersburg, 70 kilometers from Estonia, and 100 kilometers from Finnish border. There are 14 civilian and military nuclear reactors located here in different stages of the life cycle. In addition, spent nuclear fuel rods equivalent to 24 Chernobyl-type reactors are temporarily stored at the Leningrad nuclear power plant. Ecomet S, the largest plant in Europe for the processing of the radioactive metal and temporary storage facility for radioactive waste, also operated here. 30 years ago, in 1992, the experts of the Academy of Science of Russia concluded that the ecological capacity of this area has been exhausted and did not recommend build new industrial facilities here. The authorities ignored these recommendations. The number of facilities nuclear facilities on the southern coast of the Gulf of Finland has doubled. And this process continues now. A month ago, construction of the 7th and 8th power units of the Leningrad nuclear power plant began. Two old Leningrad nuclear power plant reactors are planned to be operated not for 30, but for 50 years, and then decommissioned by 2059. Thus, in the coming decades, the probability of the accident at the nuclear cluster in the Russian part of the Baltic Sea will increase. Decisions on Russian nuclear facilities are made in Moscow, about 1,000 kilometers away. Neither the 7 million residents of St. Petersburg and Leningrad region, nor residents of neighboring countries participated in these decisions. At the same time, Russia has signed the ESPO Convention on environmental impact assessment in transboundary context, but unfortunately not ratified it. The security situation of the nuclear facilities in the Baltic Sea region has changed radically in recent months. Recently, an air raid siren sounded in the nuclear city Sosnovy Bor. It was a training in case of war for 2 million inhabitants of Leningrad region. I believe that it is also a signal for 95 million inhabitants of 9 countries of the Baltic region. Politicians incapable of ensuring peace are preparing us for opportunity to fight in the Baltic region, where 33 nuclear power units operate and tens of thousands of tons of radioactive waste are stored. The line of confrontation between Russia and NATO has divided the Baltic region into two parts. Approximately two-thirds of the nuclear reactors and radioactive waste are in NATO countries and one-third in the Russia and Belarus. The situation with the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant in Ukraine shows that the so-called peaceful atom not longer peaceful. Nuclear power plants have become a new type of the weapons of mass destruction. These weapons are more dangerous than traditional nuclear weapons. It has become as an instrument of blackmail and a threat of radioactive contamination not only in the Baltic region, but also in the northern hemisphere. The half-life of the toxic plutonium-239 is 24,000 years. It was almost absent from the Earth's crust 80 years ago. At present, at least 100 tons of plutonium have been produced at the Baltic nuclear power plants. This is danger not only for us living now, but also for dozens and maybe hundreds of future generations. The idea of non-proliferation of nuclear weapons has failed. All of Europe is mined with nuclear power plants. In the context of the confrontation between Russia and NATO, decisions about a possible war in the Baltic region will be made by politicians thousands of kilometers away from our region, and not by those who live here, including in Russia. I think it is important to strengthen the role of the Baltic stakeholders in shaping policy in the region. This requires the interaction of social active groups of citizens, business, and regional legislators from the Baltic Russia and the NATO countries of the Baltic region. Some ideas for the consideration. First, a scientific report is needed with an assessment of the state of ecosystem in the Baltic Sea region and of changes in the event of the destruction of nuclear facilities by the military. The target group of residents and politicians of the Baltic region. Such report is very important in Russia as well. Second, it is necessary to restore opportunities for cooperation between regional stakeholders, including Russian environmental and human rights NGOs, with partners in the Baltic region. This requires counter-sanction to remove the double iron curtain for NGOs both from Russia and from the countries of the Baltic region. 3. Peace ministries in the Baltic region are needed to promote a culture of peace in relations with neighbors countries. Let's join hands, friends, from all over the Baltic Sea. We are neighbors, part of the common Baltic habitat and planet Earth. We cannot be enemies. Thank you.